now I suddenly can't hear you.
Thank you, Carolyn. A little thing called mute helps a little bit. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Published. Industry experts share their secrets, author interview series. Today, I am with Carolyn Choate, and I'm super excited. She's a co-author of Get Published and a book funnel expert. We're going to be digging into Carolyn's chapter, how she works with her clients, and if you have a book or have an idea of writing a book and you think you're done after the launch, then you're going to want to stick around and learn a little bit from Carolyn because she has some amazing insights that she's going to be joining with you. Thank you for being here, Carolyn.
Thank you. This is going to be so much fun.
Yay. So, Carolyn, you are a heart-guided sales funnel at Builder, helping authors leverage their books after the launch and scale and grow their business. So tell us a little bit about how you got into becoming a book funnel builder. Book funnel builder.
Yes.
Not 3 times fast.
I put that on my forms. The doctor's office is like, what's your profession? And I'm like, sales funnel builder. Now. It's been a bit of a long and twisty road. When I was 12 years old, I decided I was going to be a novelist, and I put all of my efforts into that. I was very focused, going to be a novelist. Got a bachelor's degree in creative writing, got a master's degree in creative writing, and then I wrote my first novel, and it took me 10 years to finish it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's painful. That's painful.
That was a sustainable career.
You're like, maybe a book funnel builder is what I want to do. So your chapter is called Your Book Launch Isn't the End of the Story: How to Set Up Your Book to Reach a New Audience After the Launch. So a lot of people, first of all, a lot of people write their book and be like, okay, I'm done. And then it's like, actually, you're just getting started. And then it's like, okay, I launched it. Okay, I'm done. And that's where you're coming in. And you're like, actually, let me show you a few things. So I love your chapter because you have this extensive experience in publishing, and you've gotten to be a part of a lot of the changes that have happened inside of publishing as print on demand has become available and things have really changed for authors. So in 1990s, you started publishing books and things were a lot different back then, right?
They sure were.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about that, because you do share a little bit about it. And what did people have to go through back then when they wanted to publish a book?
Well, obviously the traditional publishing route was, it was cutthroat. It was as difficult then as it is now to get attention, to get seen. Mm-hmm. And they were just starting to have more self-publishing options, but they were things like vanity presses, which were really misleading. And luckily, I understood enough about the industry to look at what they were offering and say, okay, so this is their offering to make my book available, that somebody on this brand new thing called the internet could request. But, they were really billing it as being a publisher. And you pay us money, we publish your book. And
then you get a garage full of books.
You get a garage full of books, and you think they're going to help you with marketing. They are not. You're the product. And that's where you look when you're trying to figure out, is this a scam? So we got used to telling people, if you pay for publishing, then therefore it's a scam. And that's not even true anymore.
Right. Yes.
Publishers, and it's a totally different situation. So even that has changed a lot. But the biggest problem to me with vanity presses were that they were telling people that they were going to help get the word out about the book, get them into bookstores. And they didn't do any of that.
Right. Yeah. And so now people think, oh, you want me to pay you to publish? And really, there's service providers who help people with with all of the processes of publishing a book, which is a lot different than those vanity presses.
Exactly. It can be like, you might pay somebody to help you get into bookstores because they know the avenues to do and you don't. And maybe that will speed up the process and help.
Right. Yeah. There's all kinds of different ways. So, and another thing is, of course, with the traditional publishing route, you make this, you're going all in on this book. And if your first book wasn't successful, it made it really, really difficult, right? To have any kind of chance of having any kind of like author career or any opportunity to get your other future books out there.
Yeah, I think the way that we were taught to think about professional book writing is very short-sighted. So
Mhm.
you're focused on the launch, or you're focused on that first book. Let's get a big advance. You know what the problem with a big advance is? An advance is an advance against royalties.
Yeah,
So if you get traditionally published and they say, okay, here's $5,000 up front, that's your advance, your book has to pay that back. And people
that's
do not realize that. And so
yeah.
that's sort of a measure of whether your book is successful. If it doesn't pay back that advance, then the publisher is going to be like, well, that was not a worthwhile trade-off. They're in business.
Yeah,
And so
that's
then,
right.
like you
Yeah.
said, you can't get a second book deal because your first book bombed.
Right. And how many people, I mean, it's just like anything. Your first book probably isn't going to be the knockout, I mean, it might be, and I'm sure it'll be really good, but it's a learning
Bad
process.
when it is. Like, you look at something like Joseph Heller and Catch 22 and how spectacular that book is. But then if you look at his bigger career and think how miserable he was, that he peaked early and his later books did not get that same
Yeah.
attention and traction.
Yep.
That's actually a really sad situation
Yes.
to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So in 2009, you published your first book on Amazon, right?
Yes.
What was that book,
First,
first of all?
what's that?
What was the title of that book?
Oh, it's a romance novel. It's called
Oh,
Hole. And I used a pen name because my family was like, You're doing what now? You're gonna put the family name on that book?
oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, how fun. Yeah, okay. So you kind of tried to
So
go the
the first
traditional
thing that I
publishing
did
route.
was I used a print on demand vanity publisher because I knew what I was getting.
Yeah.
And so I used it to make the book available, and then I was doing my own marketing. And I had a friend be like, Amazon has come out with this Kindle thing. You should look into ebooks. And I was like, yeah, it's available as an ebook, which meant that on their website, you could download a PDF of it.
Right.
Totally did not take it seriously.
Yeah.
So when I finally did put it up on Kindle, it was like, oh my gosh, it made such a huge difference.
Right? And you're like, "Oh, this is what this is all about." And so things started shifting, not just for you, but for other authors, and you really started recognizing, the potential for people. So when did you actually start getting into book building funnel or book funnel building?
So it's easy to tell this story as though it was this straight shot journey. It was so simple to go from, oh, I published a book. Actually, I really enjoy the marketing of books. But that
Mhm.
idea scared me because authors
Mm.
aren't supposed to like marketing.
Yeah.
Marketers are those evil people who care about money. And so I was very resistant to the idea that I liked the marketing. So I backed off of that. I realized I couldn't write fast enough to publish only my own books. So I started getting other people's books. I started
Mm.
getting books of my friends and publishing theirs. But I didn't really know anything about running a business. I didn't know when to reach out for help. And so I ended up completely overwhelmed and gave up. And then
Mm.
I was like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? And I became a secretary, and then I became a test proctor, and then I became a cashier at the grocery store. And I was so miserable at these jobs. My soul was dying. And I was like, I'm going to be a stay at home mom. I'm going to be so good at that. Spoiler, I was not so good at that.
It's so I mean, it's so relevant to so many women. I mean, I really don't know anyone who hasn't had these kinds of like, what am I doing? Where's my purpose? Oh no, it's not that. Oh gosh, what am I
Mhm.
supposed to do? So absolutely can
Really
relate.
hard road. So I
Yeah.
was, I was 34 with my first child, and I was like, I'm bored at home. I can't stop hustling. I'm doing little things like taking surveys for pennies. And I learned about what funnels were.
Mhm.
And I realized that I had always had an instinct for funnels because that original book that was on Kindle, I had set it up in basically what is a funnel, and it still made sales. I was
Wow.
not actively promoting it.
You just naturally did it. You're
I
just like, this
actually
makes
did it.
sense.
It was already there. It was already happening. It was making a few sales every month with zero promotion, completely passive income. And people say passive income, like, oh my gosh, you were making, I was like, yeah, I mean, $25 a month in passive income. But you
But
can see
still, it was showing you.
yeah, you see the potential. But
Yeah.
that's with one book with a targeted audience. It was very niche down so that when people searched for that niche, they were going to find my book. And that's still the case. You know, it's 13 years later, that book still sells. And
Yes.
without me doing anything active.
Wow, I love that. That's amazing.
So
And so,
I like funnels, but I also thought, oh, this is so natural. This makes sense. This path, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's so obvious.
yeah.
And so for a long time, I didn't realize that not everybody could look at a business and see how the funnel could flow.
Not that many people actually. Not
Well,
just not everybody, but it's not
yeah,
like
and
a
it's
lot of
just
people
something I
try.
have a gift for. So I was like, okay, I'm like 36 years old, and this is the first time I've ever felt talented at anything in my whole life. It
Yay!
just changed my world.
I think it's so good to mention. I just want to say this right here because this is a book about writing and publishing, but I think it's so important to say that a lot of times we take for granted the things that come really easy to us, and we're like, oh, everyone can do that, and usually they can't.
And so then we undervalue it. We don't sell
Yes.
ourselves. We put a low price on it because we think this is so easy.
Right, exactly. So you talk about how we should always be funneling in the book, right? So can you walk the audience through that process just a little bit? And you talk about it in your chapter in depth. There's a lot more to it. So make sure to get the book and read Carolyn's chapter, but let's go through those steps.
Yeah, my catchphrase is hashtag always be funneling because I always think about what is the next step for someone. I like to look at a funnel as a garden path. And this is kind of an unusual way of describing it, but I find that it really resonates with the people I work with. That you have a home on the internet that is your website.
Yeah.
And you have people just walking around through the internet and they don't know that you have something awesome at your home. And so you build a gate and you say, come on in. And you build a path of stepping stones.
Yeah.
And so from that first welcome, that introduction of a stranger to your world, what is the next step? And where do you lead them next? And where do you lead them next? And this way, nobody falls through the cracks. Nobody feels like you reached out to them and then you dropped their hand and just left them wandering and lost.
That's right.
They feel supported and connected. And so to me, a sales funnel is not a pushy marketing tactic. It's a way of giving this gift.
It's customer care.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, supporting
Yes.
your audience or clients or whoever it is through the process, and it's automated. So a lot of people who are watching maybe don't know exactly what a funnel is. So you're coming into you're having conversations at networking, on social media, in all these different avenues. And then where are you leading those folks back to? And you have a book.
The beauty of a funnel is with so much of it that happens automatically, it's like making your website into a little VA that works for you 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
When you're out there promoting, you only have to promote one thing. You promote that top of funnel link.
Get them to the gate.
To the gate, exactly.
Yeah.
So that might be a chapter from your book, a teaser. It might be the whole book if you're leading them into a bigger program that the book is based on. And you think through what is the one that's best for your audience and for you and your business. There's no one right funnel path. It's the right
and you
one.
talk about that. You talk about how, marketing isn't a one size fits all endeavor. And that's something that's really important to you, is to help your clients find kind of what feels in alignment for them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
I tried to do the typical ClickFunnels experience thing. And I was following along with this coach and doing everything he told me to do, and it would not work. Well, the thing is, it works for some people because those methods are aligned with how they want to do business. It was
Mm,
not aligned with my values and my heart. And so there was that subconscious resistance going on.
yeah.
I get real tired of seeing marketers who are like, I have the secret formula, the one key that will open it all. I'm like, you can't just take a
For
template.
some people, yes, but not, yeah. And
And
so
they're
I
like, the
think,
proven system. Yes, it was
yes,
proven to work for you. Will it work
yes,
for this person? Maybe, but
yeah,
only if it comes from your heart. And
yeah,
so I want to encourage people, do not be afraid to look at a marketing tactic and go, that is not for me. Be
yeah.
authentic, be yourself, and people really, really resonate with the authenticity, and do things the way that feels right to you. That's what's going to really work.
I think that is so, it's an astounding message throughout to get published, and the co-authors all are coming from this really heart-centered place and ready to lead authors in this very heart-centered way and help people succeed in this evolving marketplace. So it's such a great thing. And I know you're inviting people up to a gate and into and down the path of cobblestone. You offer a free training on Zoom for anyone who's curious about understanding funnels and learning a little bit more about that. Do you want
Yeah.
to share
So
about that?
I'm a service provider. I do a done for you service. And my philosophy is I'll teach you exactly how to do it yourself. I will give you all of the details, everything that you need to do it yourself if that's the route you want to go. If you look at all of the stuff that needs to be done and you go, I don't know if I really have the time or if I really want to be struggling with the tech to make the pieces fit together, okay, I'll hire Carolyn to do it for me.
That's
So
right.
I do a class weekly. I might make it evergreen soon, so it might be a replay, but
Okay.
right now it's still live. And just walking you through exactly what a book funnel looks like behind the scenes and from the point of view of your audience and the tech that you need, what you need to set it up, the important things to consider, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's up to you if you want me to help you with it.
Amazing. Go and check it out. You're going to learn a lot. And even if you just pick up that one tip or decide to, have Carolyn support you and have her done for you. I always say I'm not a mechanic, so I don't try to fix my own car. And I think it's a similar thing. Yes, you can. And there's people who do, but there's a lot of people who don't want to. And so
I'm a DIYer. I'm like, okay, let me figure it out. I changed the locks on our front door from a YouTube video. My husband did not think I was going to be able to do that.
there's people who do it. I mean, you can do things. And so it's like, I think that's really important. Like, yes, you can do it, and you absolutely can if you have the time and the ability. Yes. And also, do you want to? It's just kind of one of those things. So,
Or would you rather go back to spending more time writing?
yeah, and
About the
focusing on
automated
building
processes,
your
I tell
business
you.
or spending time with your family or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of things.
And
Yeah.
that's not a great thing about sales funnels, because we tell you, oh, well, the book publishing isn't the end of your job. You still got to work, work, work. But once you get this kind of machine and system up and running, you can set it and forget it for the most part, and you'll have freed up a lot of time, and those book sales are just going to be happening in the background.
Amazing. Yes. So I have linked up to that offer. So make sure to check that out, as well as some contact information for Carolyn. Check it out. And mark your calendars. May 8th, Get Published Industry Experts Share Their Secrets is going to make its debut. And we are so incredibly excited. And for aspiring authors or established authors and people along the journey, you're going to pick up so many insights, so much valuable information, and be, in a community of amazing people who are really ready to support you in this endeavor. So make sure to mark your calendars for that. Thank you so much, Carolyn. This was such a fun interview. And I hope all of you have an amazing weekend, and we will talk to you soon.